What's the most important thing to remember when you're designing a multifamily dwelling with CLT, massive timber construction? Here's like the deadly sin of CLT is that if you have dwellings, you have high sound requirements, and CLT is sensitive to flanking transmission. So if this would be the junction between two apartments, like this. Here's apartment 1 and apartment 2, like so. And all this is cross-laminated timber. If you do it like this, you will have problems with flanking transmission, because the sound will enter this and it will come out on the other side as flanking transmission. This is easy to miss, so be very careful. This goes in all directions. It's not just about dwelling separating walls, it's with ceilings, with the floor structure, and with outer walls or inner walls, all the CLT walls in a dwelling where you have different apartments. They should not be continuous and exposed, mind you, too. I mean, if you have another layer on these walls, for instance, you could solve this by adding, let's look at it from the side. If you have your CLT here, and then you put some little wood, I think it's lecht in Swedish, maybe 10 millimeters thickness here, and then you add acoustic profiles on this one, so you get some kind of resilient connection. And then you add plywood and gypsum. The plywood is good because it's easy to screw things in it, and you get some extra sound insulation as well. If you have this what's it called? If this clad in this construction, this additional sound insulation layer is added on both sides, the sound cannot enter as easy into the CLT frame. So if you do it like this, it can be continuous, because then you can eliminate this transfer path. So it's not a problem anymore. So that's one way of doing it. This is also quite common to use resilient ceilings, because a good thing with continuous CLT is that it's easier to mount the building in the production site. There's less work with the crane, and perhaps you can span across 2 or even 3 apartments with each CLT element, and that will save you time with the crane, and it's going to be faster and cheaper. However, then you get this issue that you have to either cover the walls with this additional layer, or the ceilings. But there is another way of doing it, and that is, of course, if you could add a slice, so that this two separate elements, they are not connected, and then maybe you can put some soft interlayer here, so to really make sure that there is no connection in between them. You will also probably have some kind of additional layer on this wall with if we look at it from the top, it would be something like this, that you have CLT separate frame, and then double gypsum or plywood gypsum, and some mineral wool in here. And this layer needs to go on this side here, so that you can make sure that there is absolutely no way for the sound to jump in between the apartments. So this is the way to go. If you would to put the slice here, you might have problems with it going like this and in between, and you don't want that. So that's why we put the split here, because when the split is there, even if the sound enters here, it's stuck. It cannot jump over and come out here. And then you have the sound that's gonna go straight through the wall. It's taken care of by this additional layer here. So there are some good guidelines. I also mentioned the ceiling. Now, if you have the apartment separating walls here, and some beams and some mineral wool, I've noted that in most of the projects that I'm involved with, we often end up with continuous CLT slabs across several apartments, because it's the best trade-off. You will reduce the mounting time, as I mentioned, but there are also another thing that happens. It becomes stiffer, because you can also split the elements, maybe put it on some kind of bracket or something and put some elastic layer here. That could be a way, but if they're not continuous, you will probably need to increase and make them thicker, because they will be more flexible. If you have a continuous CLT element, this is stiffer, and then you can perhaps reduce the size a little bit. And that's also, a stiffer CLT element is also a good thing with regards to acoustics. So there are several benefits. So that's probably why we often end up with this one. However, if we have this one, you will have this transmission through the ceiling, like so. And the way to handle that is to install the same thing as here. You put some kind of wooden lath to get it down a little bit, and then you have the acoustic resilient profiles on both sides, and then a layer of gypsum, like so. Because now the gypsum board, now this can move up and down and absorb the sound, so it can't enter the structure and go here. This way is eliminated when you cover it with acoustic profiles and some plates, like in this little sketch here. And you also get a little space here where you can put some electrical installations and stuff. And the profiles, they are 25 millimeters usually, and then you could add perhaps 22 to 28 millimeter of extra distance to increase this D here. So you could, and the reason that you want to increase it a bit more than 25 is that the CLT in itself has strong flanking transmission in a certain region, and that's why we need to make sure that this distance and the eigenfrequency, the resonance frequency that you get here, does not coincide with the frequency range that is especially sensitive when you're working with CLT. So you always have to optimize the distances with every given construction. Well, I started the video to talk about like one of the deadly sins here, but we ended up with a little crash course in many different directions. But it's a good thing. I think this message it can be told many times. I've probably done videos about this before as well, but it's worth mentioning again and again and again, because these mistakes are very easy to correct if you find them early, and they are unfortunately also easy to miss if you don't have an acoustician on board in your project. So be careful with this. And in today's video, I'm wearing one of my favorite summer suits, green full suit today. And I pair this one with a white shirt with some stripes, a linen shirt, very cool fabric here. And so this is perfect summer clothing. And you got green, blue, brown, and white stripes. You got brown, blue, white here. You got brown leather here. Silver metal in the watch, a bit beige. Pick it up again in the socks here. So there's total harmony in all the colors. I even pick up the green with the eyes, which is fail-safe bet. So if you're in doubt, always go with your eye color. It's gonna look good on you. See ya.